Hi, thanks for joining us on this episode of SDR News Live. I'm Andy McCaskey from SDR News, and as you know, we've just gotten back from the HP Discover event here about a week ago that was held in Las Vegas, Nevada. All sorts of interesting folks that I have a chance to meet as a part of HP Discover. I wanted to introduce one of them to you. This is Jeff Boles from the Taneja Group in Mesa, Arizona. And Jeff, tell us a little bit about your company and what you did while you were at HP Discover.
Sure, Andy. Yeah, thanks for having me today. So, yeah, we're a boutique industry analyst firm. We focus specifically on storage and server virtualization, and with a mission to cut through the buzz and the hype and help IT practitioners understand what's real and what's vapor, right? So.
I understand you are, in addition to providing reports to people in the industry, you also do lab validation, and that's your particular specialty.
Yep, I run our hands-on lab practice here at Taneja Group, what we call technology validations, and Taneja Group Labs. And there we put vendor solutions through the paces, usually storage and server virtualization infrastructure products. And yeah, so that's one of the interesting things that brought me to HP Discover was my desire to check out some of these products in real time, and some of the customers around these products we often get put through the labs.
Yeah, well, we're checking things out in real time here as well, as we see a little throttling going on here on the network. But your audio is holding up well, so we can just kind of continue to explore what you found to be of interest. Did you see any particular products that really grabbed your attention at HP Discover?
Well, Andy, I kind of boil HP Discover down to maybe three big things for me personally. You know, there were lots of different product announcements and stuff at HP, right? We focus on the storage space, so in particular, the 3-PAR announcements around the all-flash 3-PAR array at 7450 were important, as well as the virtual storage appliances. But kind of boiling it down, you know, I really saw three things. It was storage, big data, and software, right? It covers a lot, but I could probably give you a simplified takeaway on each item as far as interesting things I saw. The biggest thing was HP seems to be phenomenally serious about storage right now, and they're pushing beyond the reservations of the traditional storage vendor, right? So we've seen a lot of storage vendors have a hard time shifting away from legacy and traditional products. Sometimes they're saddled by those, they're held back by them, and it reduces their ability to shift to new architectures. And with some controversy, you know, HP cut their ties to EBA a while back, and you know, they've made these storage acquisitions over the past few years, like Left Hand Gear, which is now Store Virtual and 3-PAR technology. And those things appear to be letting them really push the boundaries without being tied back by legacy gear now and aggressively thrust into the market, right? And where they're getting with all this stuff is it seems like they have a really nicely orchestrated portfolio of technology between Store Virtual, 3-PAR, the X series, you know, the Ibrix gear, the X9000 family, Store Once. So all that stuff seems to be hitting on all fronts and coming together really nicely.
How do you see that with respect to other competitors in the space? Do you think that HP has a particular advantage or a particular vision that might be absent elsewhere?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, all these things are coming together in something that looks like a pretty systematically thought out portfolio, right? So you've got file and unstructured data in volume on one side. You've got the ability to do large scale utility class storage infrastructure on the other side with 3-PAR. And then you have really pretty flexible and agile Store Virtual family, which you can also run as virtual storage appliance, right? You see some of those characteristics also infiltrate into the Store Once family with deduplication. So really interesting stuff. And when you start bringing it together with some other integrations, like a data protector, for instance, it starts to look like they've got one of the most systematic portfolios on the market. Look around at the competition, and you know, like I said, competition is typically saddled by some latency, and some legacy, I mean, and you know, traditional infrastructures, or they don't have a quite complete portfolio. You know, they don't have that high-end system, or they don't have the right mid-range tools, or they don't have the right software integrations, right?
What's the biggest misconception with regard to storage that your clients commonly have? Where do you have to do a lot of education?
It's not that complicated, Andy. It's really still around the basics of storage and how server virtualization changes the importance of storage, right? So we still see customers constantly surprised by the I/O demand and how the I/O pattern changes when you bring server virtualization or desktop virtualization into an infrastructure, and especially as it scales. And customers walk into that minefield without knowing how much that I/O pattern changes and how much that's going to surface in their infrastructure when their array can't handle it well. So, or their storage infrastructure of choice.
So you had mentioned software as well as being one of the highlights of what you're seeing. Were you thinking software specifically related to storage management, or were there other things that attracted your attention?
No, I'm thinking software more generally, Andy. So, really, one of the things that came through for me at Discover, being there on the show floor, was the prevalence of software throughout the HP portfolio and their new product introductions too, right? So there's really a pretty tremendous breadth there. HP gets faulted, and I frankly fault myself for having enterprise software stack ambitions without an enterprise software suite. But they seem to be moving in a direction fairly cleverly to try to do an end run around needing that enterprise software stack, right? You see things like Haven coming out, but also down at kind of a more microscopic level, you see some really interesting software stuff going on for the individual products too. I mean, you saw Data Protector gain some pretty good bragging rights about being bigger than be able to manage more objects in TSM, for instance, which is the high watermark for backup software, right, in complex environments. You see little software innovations in product families like Virtual System and the ability to manage Virtual Connect in the virtual infrastructure itself. There's just ongoing refinement, kind of continual ongoing refinement there, and a whole bunch of different products and some really interesting innovation that's happening at a pretty rapid pace. So for the traditional HP that often over-focused on systems to the detriment of software, there's some really interesting stuff happening in the portfolio right now.
For folks who weren't able to attend HP Discover and see your session, are you going to have a chance to represent that in some way?
Sure. Calvin Zito, at HP Storage Guy, many people know him, and I will be recording that session in a video cast of some sort over the next week or two, and that'll be stood up on Calvin's part of the social website at HP, right? And I've also written a column on that same topic. They'll publish in September's version of Storgage Magazine. So, and both of those things break down software-defined storage as something a little bit less scary and radical than we tend to think it is sometimes.
Did you meet some of your customers at HP Discover? And if so, what sort of feedback did you get from them?
Always meet interesting people at HP Discover. I think, I had an awful lot of conversations around folks trying to turn their attention to software integration, improvement, and efficiency within their businesses. It seemed to be a driving theme among end users and practitioners at this HP Discover. And I think more practitioners are grabbing hold of this idea of big data and analytics, returning value, and being a little bit easier to do today than it has been in the historic past. And frankly, that was on the front burner far before infrastructure issues right now.
Where can people go to find out more about your activities in the validation lab and then the activities of the Taneja Group in general?
Sure. Well, you can always see us in the press, being quoted, printed, wherever, but you can also find us at our website, www.tanejagroup.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Jeff Boles, and you can reach me on email, jeff@tanejagroup.com.
Okay, well, Jeff, thanks for joining us here today, and I'm looking forward to the publication of your talk there either through Calvin Zito. Maybe we can get a copy of that and publish it here on SDRNews and one of our shows as well. But thanks again for joining us here today, and look forward to having a chance to see you on down the line here at an HP event.
You bet, Andy. Yeah, thanks for having me. Glad to be here anytime. So just give me a holler.
Okay, thanks. Thanks to you folks for joining us as well here on SDR News.